All right. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us all here today. Today's shiur should be Le'ilu Nishmas, our dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gavriel Tzvi, and for Zaidi Reb Shmuel ben Yosef Dov HaKohen, and L'Refuah Shalem Bekarov Mishalom ben Sarachal, Miriam Basara, and Yair Yeshia ben Chaya Atara. Today, we are on page 179 in the Art Scroll, for those who are following along, and we are starting on the fourth category to which Bitachon applies, and that's fulfilling personal mitzvos. And the previous three categories really pertained to focusing on someone's well-being, whether it was including someone's health, their income, and how they fear with interacting with people around them or their enemies, whether they're friends, their family. And now, this category is going to start talking about fulfilling personal mitzvahs. And personal mitzvahs means your own mitzvah that you do by yourself. And we're going to get a little bit more into that. Now, the following is the explanation of how Bitachon is to be applied regarding the fourth category. This is Binyane Choivas Avavas Vehevarim Sha'adam Misyached B'Terlasa V'Nezikam, which consists of spiritual duties of the heart and of the body that directly benefit or harm only the person himself. Meaning, these are things that you have to do or refrain from doing, and that only gives you credit or gives you a demerit. Now, includes mitzvahs and examples. He gives some examples, such as fasting when you are required, sitting and eating in a sukkah, shaking lulav and esrog, wearing tzitzis, observing Shabbos and Yontiv, aveiros, also abstaining from doing an aveira, which is a mitzvah, from holding yourself back from doing an aveira, and all the duties of the heart. And with all the duties of the heart, he includes over here sometimes also something that you don't actually physically need to do, something that you could feel, like for instance, to fear Hashem is a mitzvah, and it's only a duty of the heart. It's something that you feel. It's keeping your mind and your heart. You're not doing it, have to do anything physical in order to get that done, in order to get that mitzvah. For duties of the heart do not affect others. Rather, their direct benefits and harm, so if it's a mitzvah or an aveiros, are limited to only you and you only, without impacting anyone around you. The proper manning of placing trust and reliance on Hashem in these personal duties is what I will now explain. And before he starts explaining how we go about with Bitachon and that, he asks Hashem he has a little tefillah to Hashem. He says, I first ask of Hashem that in His mercy, that He guides me in the truth so that I shall be able to explain this more accurately. It seems like the Rabbeinu Bechai, when he wrote this, he feared that maybe his words wouldn't come across in an understanding way. So he throws in a little bit of tefillah. You see a few times in Shaar Habitachon where he does that. He asks Hashem, please make sure you guide me in the right direction, that people should understand me. Now, responsibility for choosing good over evil. The Bechira, choosing to do good, acting out good. Here's how the Bitachon lies. V'hu, ki maseh avodah v'aveira lo yikachnu la'adam, ki im b'kavet shleisha dvarim. It's not possible for a person to perform a mitzvah or an aveira without three parts. Three sections are required in order to fully complete a mitzvah and aveira. And he says like this: the first is choosing to do that mitzvah or doing that avera. Let's start with the mitzvah. It's just easier to go with one example. I'd rather do the mitzvah one. So the first one is the choosing to do a mitzvah. You wake up in the morning. I've said this many times to people. You wake up in the morning and you choose to do Bitachon today. This is what you decide you want to do. I want to go do mitzvah Bitachon today. That's the first part, the decision factor. The second is intending and resolving to act on which you has chosen to do. Now, you wake up in the morning, you decide you want to do Bitachon. The second part is you say, okay, I'm going to get up, I'm going to shower, I'm going to go daven, I'm going to learn a little, and then I'm going to get in the car, I'm going to head out to Manhattan, I'm going to drive to the hospital, NYU, and I'm going to go visit some people. That's the planning stage. That's the part number 2 of actually fulfilling the mitzvah. V'ashlishi sheyishtadel ligmar hamasa be'evarav hanim v'yitzeu el geda hamasa. The third one is actually utilizing your efforts, your physical abilities to go out. So you thought about the mitzvah, you said you want to go do Bitachon, you planned, you said I'm going to go do this, this, and this, and then at 10 a.m. I'm going to leave to the city. That's the planning stage. And the physical act, the third part is you actually set out and went to the city and did the mitzvah, you fulfilled it, you made people happy, and you completed the mitzvah. Now, Rav Av discusses in which of these areas Bitachon is appropriate. You have the planning, the decision, the planning, and then the action. Where is Bitachon in Hashem appropriate to have? And you understand this. Now, regarding to those steps, all three steps are within a person's ability and not beyond his control. Namely, the first one is choosing to do either the mitzvah or the aveiros. Trusting Hashem in these areas that He will make us decide to perform a mitzvah or not to commit a sin is a mistake and is actually foolish. What he's explaining over here is very simply. From the three categories, the first two categories, you cannot blame Hashem for coming out and doing this avera because you receive bechira from Hashem. Hashem gives us the ability to choose. You have choice of whether or not to go do this mitzvah or avera. You have choice of whether or not to plan on it. What you don't have a choice is in the physical carrying out of that mitzvah. So having bitachon, when it comes to thinking about it, you're saying, oh, you know what, I'm thinking about doing an avera. That's not, you can't say that wasn't up to you because God gave you choice. Now carrying out the avera, that's up to Hashem whether or not you're going to be able to carry that out. And same with the mitzvah. You have free will of choice. You can choose to do the mitzvah, think about a plan on how to doing it. But at the end of the day, carrying out the mitzvah, going to the city, getting stuck in traffic, car breaking down, not making it to the destination, to the hospital, to be able to visit people, that's not up to you. That's only up to Hashem. But you had a choice in the morning to wake up and say, I want to do Bitachon, and you planned on how you did it, and you set out to go do it, but you didn't actually fulfill it. That's not your problem. But what he's saying is it's foolish for you to believe that the first two parts, that's up to Hashem. That's not up to Hashem. That's all on you. Now with that, there's a big part of understanding that. He says, For Hashem had placed choice to either serve or defy Him. It says in the pasuk where it says B'charta b'chaim over there, it says choosing life includes both making the choice if one's conscious to follow Hashem and resolving to act on His choice. Since Hashem has directed us to do this, it is our responsibility, and therefore it is no basis for relying on Him in this area. In the pasuk it says that Hashem commanded us to choose life, which means to choose good, and therefore our choice of doing so is our bechira. He's showing us that we have to choose life, we have to choose good. Meaning He's not telling us that you're going to have to do it automatically because He's giving us the opportunity to do so. And that's our opportunity. What Hashem did not place in our full control is hashlamas hamasa b'avodah, is the ability to carry out to completion this mitzvah or this avera. Rather, He left that dependent largely on factors that are beyond our control. For everything we've learned till now, we understand that whatever Hashem decrees should happen is going to happen, and therefore the physical ability of something is only up to Hashem. You going to do ishtadlus is your part. The outcome is never up to you. Sometimes the necessary factors exist, but at other times are missing. Meaning, you want to go out and do a mitzvah, Bitachon, but there are no sick people near you, you can't get to them today. Or if you want to go do an avera, you want to steal from someone, but you're in the middle of the desert, you can't steal from anyone because there's no one to steal from. And so therefore, your choice to do so, to do anything, whether it's a mitzvah or an avera, it largely depends on your choice, but then also largely depends on the ability to carry that out. If Hashem doesn't want that to happen, He might put you in a place where that cannot happen. If you want to do Bitachon, you might not be close to a sick individual for you to go and carry out our mitzvah. Now, thus, if a person will place trust in Hashem in regard to the initial stages, choosing to serve Hashem, and he will say, I shall neither choose nor intend to do anything in Hashem's service until He Himself chooses for me the good choice from among options before me. Meaning he's saying over here, this person in this scenario, saying to Hashem, if you give me opportunities, I'll decide then what I want to do. No, Hashem told you, you have to make the choice to do good. You can't leave it up to later to say, if an opportunity presents itself, then I might think about whether or not I want to do it. No, because Hashem told us to choose life, and that pasuk means to choose to do good. You always have to be wanting to do good, looking out to do a mitzvah. Now, if the opportunity presents itself, you'll be able to complete that mitzvah. But the choice you always have to be willing to do that choice of the mitzvah, or refraining from doing the aveiros. He will simply have strayed from his straight path, meaning if he's told Hashem that I'm just going to wait for the opportunity and then make the decision, his feet will have stumbled off of the proper direction. Hashem already commanded us to make the choice of performing a mitzvah. And to focus our intent on that choice with effort to complete it. Now again, the pasuk is bringing the idea of choosing life is to show us that we always have to choose to do good. And if the opportunity presents itself, we'll be able to complete that task. Lishmai Haggadah, for the sake of his great name. Furthermore, he has already informed us that if we choose the proper path, it's for our own benefit, both on this world and the other world. Now, he says it's illogical and foolish to rely on Hashem to choose good for us, right? Because when he already told us that good is in direct to us, it's illogical and foolish to rely on Hashem to choose the good for us, when Hashem already commanded us to choose life, to choose good. And therefore, you can't wait for Hashem to choose the right path for you. You always have to be choosing that path of doing good and refraining from doing aveiros. Now, to finish off over here, how do we apply this and how do we get schar for that? And that's going to finish off this part. He says like this, now, if the factors and resources necessary to perform the act are present, and we are thus able to complete the mitzvah act, meaning you have the sick person that's in the hospital in NYU, you are able to go and complete that task. It says, after first having chosen to do so with and then he will receive a great reward on Olam Haba for all three components. Over here is the very important part when we understand the concept of machshava kamaisa, meaning if you thought about doing something, it's just as if you did it. How so? He says you have three parts to this whole equation. There's the decision factor, there's the planning stage, and then there's the act of doing the mitzvah. So you woke up in the morning, you chose to do Bitachon, that's step one. You planned on how you're going to do it, that was step two, you got that done. Now, you got in the car, and you didn't make it to your destination because of traffic, because your car broke down, because if something else happened, you couldn't make it over there, you will still get schar for doing that mitzvah. Why? Because we understand that the outcome is not up to us. But because we chose to do good, we chose life, like Hashem told us in the pasuk that we have to choose to do good, we did our part. Our part of Ishtadlus was to choose the right thing to do, to plan on doing, and to set out to do it, even though we might not have completed the task. Maybe the sick person didn't get to see us today and see us smile and give them an uplifting day, but because we wanted to, we get schar for that. Because the outcome, for whatever reason, Hashem didn't want that to happen for this person or for you or whatever it is. But that was up to Hashem. That's beyond our control. We get schar for that. Now he says, he says, we're actually performing out the act and you get the schar. But even if our limbs are ultimately unable to complete the mitzvah, we get schar for the bechira and the kavana to do so. Now, the same as we just spoke, because we talk about aveiros as well, goes for an aveira. You wake up in the morning and you say, I'm going to steal from someone today. Yeah, you plan it. You say, I'm going to get into the car, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to go at night, whatever it is. You planned on doing it. Ultimately, you couldn't get into the house to rob the guy. You're still going to get an onesh because you planned on it and you chose it and you planned on it. Right? That's what the bottom line is, and that's what Rav Av is saying over here. The same as by a mitzvah, your machshava is kamaisa, the same thing when it comes to aveira. There is, though, and the Matnas Chalka talks about this, and he says like this, there is a difference between aveiros and mitzvahs when it comes to the three stages of deciding, planning, and carrying out. And it is like this. By a mitzvah, they say, as a yid, inherently we are good people and we want to do good. People in general want to do good things. There are other deciding factors of their life that make them do bad things, but inherently we all good people, especially us yid. So you wake up in the morning, you want to do that mitzvah, you plan, you decide, you plan, you set out to do it. Ultimately, you didn't carry it out because of other forces. Hashem didn't want it to happen. You get the mitzvah. Why? Here's the important part. Because in the end of the day, had the opportunity for you to do so been there, you would have done it. Had there not been traffic, had your car not broken down, you would have done it. So you wanted to complete that task. By aveiros, however, it says, because we inherently are good people, so yeah, maybe we decided to do the aveiros. We planned on doing the aveiros. But at the last minute, we might have thought twice, 3 times about it and said, you know what? I regret this decision, and you might walk away from it. Because by an aveiros, the possibility is more that you would actually complete the mitzvah, because if it was available for you to do, you would do it. The flip side of that by the aveiros is actually, you wouldn't do it. You might actually stop yourself and check, what am I doing here? Maybe, you know what? And you'll have your Yahir Tshuva, you'll have that moment of clarity, and you decide that you don't want to go about doing that. And therefore, it does show over here that there is a difference between the 3 steps when it comes to a mitzvah versus the 3 steps to doing the aveiros. But the bottom line is, especially when it comes to doing a mitzvah, in this particular aspect, every morning you should wake up wanting to do a mitzvah. Plan on doing that mitzvah. Try to complete that mitzvah throughout the day. Again, it has to be something that makes sense, right? If you're saying you want to go daven at a certain, Mekayim kedushah, and you don't have a flight to get there, it might not be feasible, it might not be the same thing, and I don't know if that much of a mitzvah it is, it might be, I don't know. But the point is that wake up every morning and say, hey, I want to give tzedakah today. And plan on it. Say, when I go out, if I find someone, I'm going to give it. You might not find someone to give it. Truth is, if you find it hard enough, you look hard enough, you go into any store today, any Jewish store, you probably have a pushka by the cash register, and you'll be able to do so. But the point is that if you wake up every morning and you decide you want to do something, a mitzvah, and ultimately you don't fulfill it, you will still get schar for that. So it's easy way out, guys. Just try to do it. If it doesn't happen, you still get the credit. It's unlike everything else in our life. We can go to work every single day. We can try to work, but even if we don't have the outcome, we don't get the extra bucks, right? But here you do. Here you get that schar, and that goes into your bank account up in Shemayim. And what we called, and we didn't use this phrase actually in a while, your 613M, right? So it's like the 401k. I'm going to bring back the 401k versus the 613M. That's your retirement account at Olam Haba. So everything you do, all the mitzvahs you do, go into your 613M in Shemayim. And so when you come up there, you have a fat retirement account over there. A fat, juicy account that they'll put you right up into the highest levels of Gan Eden. Thank you, everyone, for joining us all here today, and I love you all.
Thank you.